2022 March Cheesesteak Madness first round judges bracket, the Delaware County region, also known as Delco Region, Leo's Steak Shop versus Johnny Paisano's. Two judges, chefs, born, raised, still living in Delco. Chef J2, you may remember him from earlier appearances, has strong opinions about three of these cheesesteaks, so we went blind. We did a blind tasting and judging, and it was fun. I liked watching the pain on his face when he thought he was bad-mouthing his favorite cheesesteak. Long video, which I actually shortened. Let's get to the action at Ship Bottom Brewing in Swarthmore.
Two chefs and an iPhone 5 operator. Cheesesteak number 3, we're doing at the request of Chef Jim Hassan, and this may turn into genius. We're going blind. Cheesesteak number 3, and I think I've heard some comments about an instant flavor, something smacked them right in the face.
Sure, the first bite, there was just a flavor in it, not a bad flavor, not a normal cheesesteak flavor. I probably need to dive in a little more to figure out exactly what it is, but it's good. It was pleasant, not an unpleasant flavor. It was very pleasant.
No, I agree. You definitely, it has that homemade cheesesteak flavor when you're trying to get like the garlic, onion, pepper powder mix right.
Leo's Steak Shop, Glen Olden, Pennsylvania.
30,000 foot view, just a quick, looks better, presentation, right?
Better presentation.
Definitely a really good meat to roll ratio, without question.
Yeah, you can definitely see the mushrooms in here.
The meat's pretty tender too.
Going blind, and we might go blind for the rest of the cheesesteak adventure.
It's fun. I think it's more fun, especially when you have people that know the cheesesteaks. I mean, John you didn't really know any of these.
One of them I had like one time, maybe a year ago.
But I already had preconceived ideas about some of these places, and going blind probably, it's making me nervous, but also is kind of fun at the same time.
There you go. All right, well then, cheesesteak number 2 versus cheesesteak number 3.
2 versus 3.
I've been prepping these guys for 10 minutes, so they're supposed to have.
Well, I'm just going to start right off with number 3, a seated roll. I mean, we know everybody's talking about seated, unseated. Let's go on the cheesesteak sites and let's have an argument for 6 hours about seated, unseated. I mean, personal choice. I like them both, but I think today, when you can taste test side by side, when you can have multiple cheesesteaks, you can tell how a seated roll, there's something different and it stands out. And to me, I'll admit it, I'm riding that wave right now the last couple years where I enjoy a seated roll.
Yeah. Like I said before, it isn't a deal breaker for me either way. I grew up on non-seated rolls, but lately seated rolls to me usually signify that it's going to be a heartier roll, like a stronger roll. And I used to say that I like that more for hoagies, but I'm starting to like it more for cheesesteaks. And I did like in 3. I like the roll a lot.
I mean, I think these two had the most similar meat. These two cheesesteaks had the most similar meat, but number 3, the second you took the bite, you knew there was a seasoning. You knew there was seasoning. You knew they had done something with the meat a little more than the other steak.
Yeah, 3 had a very unique flavor with the meat, and I don't mean that in a negative way. It hit different than all the other 3. And basically almost every cheesesteak I've ever had, just like initial kind of like punch. And even my chef superpowers cannot determine exactly what was the seasoning in. It could have just been the normal seasonings, but they had the exact right amount. I kind of thought it was Johnny Paisano's, because Johnny Paisano sounds like an Italian place, and there was something Italian about it.
Like, can see his grandmother like
Yeah.
tossing his hair.
From the heavens, dropping seasoning down on the cheesesteak.
I think number 2 had a lot of redeeming qualities. Steak number 2. I mean, I think both. Like, I think it had the best chop on the steak of the 2 for the whole muscle. I think steak 3, the flavor was the best, but you could tell he didn't really turn over the meat as well. You could definitely have like 3-4 pieces of the meat stuck together. So he had chopped it, but really didn't work it in well. And same thing, cheese had better flavor, I feel, in number 3, but 2 had a better distribution of the cheese.
That's what I had.
Right? Like, so it was definitely mixed in more.
That's exactly what I had.
And I think number 3 had really big mushrooms in it, but for somehow it enhanced the flavor, like kind of like when you get a like portobello, like a stuffed portobello, or you're getting I'm trying to think of something where you use, or like, you know, you're trying to use it in a vegetarian dish to give it that meaty chew. Right, so they definitely had a good mushroom, although the flavor I don't think was as good. Like, I think 2, you tasted the mushroom, but in 3, the mushroom almost acted as like an extra meat in there because of like the density of it. Number 2, the thing I didn't like was I was excited to see the amount of onion and then no flavor from the onion. I didn't catch the.
I think for 2 I wrote I was not a fan of the roll, but the meat was so good that it elevated the roll. But I've said with other things, roll is kind of, it's almost dumb to like put the roll in front of the meat because the meat is the main attraction.
All right, we got a winner.
Ooh, this is another one that I would have easily.
I'll go right out there. I'm gonna go number 3 because I definitely has a couple more points, but even just from the fact of all the steaks, when we opened that steak, we all went, "Oh, look at that!" Like, it had an appearance, it had a look, it had a, you know, someone thought about it when they made that cheese. Like, they thought about how to make that cheesesteak.
I'm gonna do Jim a favor and not let him tie break this time because I think 3 was the winner. It was close. All these cheesesteaks were good, and I would have thought that I would be able to pick out. No, hey, listen. Let me say this about Cocco's. It's the best. I think it's the best pizza in Delaware County. We're a Cocco's family. I go to Cocco's for pizza. I never go there for cheesesteaks. And I thought I'd have been able to pick out the Cocco's immediately, and I can't. I don't know what's what in this.
All right, 3 it is. 3.
3 was
Yeah,
unanimous.
3 it is.
So
Yeah, unanimous.